So I'm working on the retaining wall cap blocks. As you can see, I've already started working on them. The trick to these for me is in these curves, in these corners. How do I get them to curve? Well, I've got to cut them. So I had to get a tile saw, which is something I really should have bought a long time ago from Home Depot. And this is basically like a miter saw for tile. It does miters, does angles with a laser to guide your cut and everything. It works really well. Now, what I've done is I made a template out of cardboard to kind of figure out what I need to cut. So I'm setting this left side about where I want the block to be, the back side about where I want the block to be. Mind you, this is the same size as a block, but then here I don't want it at an angle like that because I want it to meet the next piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a square, I'm going to line the square up like so. So the square's lined up at the block and it's lined up in the front. So we'll go a little bit over. Square it up here. And then here, take a pencil and I'm going to make my mark like so. I'm going to extend that mark out to the back of this piece. If I can get this where I want it. It's kind of hard to do this stuff with one hand. Okay. The purpose of this is to get my measurement. Now, once I have that, what that'll do, that'll make this side perpendicular with the block right here. That way the next block will be easier to meet up to it. So back here, I need to get the front, so it's done. I don't want a gap. I want the next block to meet up tight to this block. And then I'm judging the overhang here by about what I've done on the other blocks. And then I'm going to measure right here how far that is, which is right here. Then I can take those measurements and transfer them onto another block. Now I already had a measurement on this one. That's just a line left over from something else, but actually it's about where it needs to be. So let's measure this. So here I'm going to measure about 1/4 of an inch. So I want to be about 1/4 of an inch over. That's about where this line happens to be. And that's what I'm going to cut out. On the other side, from my template, I'm going to measure move my camera over a little bit, about 1 3/16 is what I'm getting. So move that template out of the way. On the block, I'm going to measure my 1 3/16. Make a little tick mark with a pencil. I'll take my square. I'm going to line up my square there with the front. Try to get that lined up. Okay. Then I'm going to make, sorry for that. And then I'm going to make my mark. Okay. Then I'm going to put these on the tile saw and I'm going to cut them. So I'll move over here. Turn the laser on. And then I'm going to line up the laser, which is where the blade is going, with my line, as you can see. And then I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm left with. Alright, so I got my piece cut. I'm going to set it in place. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I've got my depth about where I was looking to have it. I'm kind of using my finger as a little gauge here. And that's about where I want it. And it's going to sit up tight to the piece before it. Now this sticks out a little bit. These blocks aren't all exactly the same size. They're pretty close, but they're not exactly. But that'll be close. And I'll probably take it and round it off a little bit with a grinder with a flat disc on it, just to make that edge a little smoother, which is what I did on this one. As you can see, it makes it look a little better because it was sticking out. So, and see, and this gives me, let me get my square and see if I got it square or not. Yeah, pretty close. Not perfect, but it's pretty close to square with the block. See, I'm just a little bit off, which is fine. I can make that up as I start straightening this out, as I get out of the curve, because I'm about out of the curve. So anyway, that's how I'm doing each of these blocks. Each one of these I'm laying out. I'm using my cardboard as a template. I'm marking my measurements on both sides and then cutting them out. And that's about the only way I know of to get them nice and tight.